Hello and welcome to Riedal's channel. This video, which spent way too much time in the making, will be dedicated to these two lovely ladies, both of which are the blonde Cut and Style Barbie from 1994. This is a made in Malaysia version you might have already seen in my doll drawer video, and the one on the right was made in China. I acquired her just recently. They both have platinum Kanekalon hair, and it's almost a miracle that they both have full-length hair because the Cut and Style dolls were probably the first dolls that encouraged children to cut the hair, as you could attach hair refills with Velcro straps and continue cutting again. But more about that later. The China version came in pretty good condition with her original dress, and I did find the original pink vest for the other doll too. Sadly, not her skirt, but she will just borrow the brunette version's yellow skirt for now. These two dolls are almost identical, but you can definitely see minor facial differences. The Malaysia doll has probably the worst hair condition I've seen so far. Otherwise in great condition, still has her choker, but missing other jewelry and of course the outfit. And as mentioned before, her hair has the worst tangles so far. It's also full of particles and, well, trash. The China variant has much better hair and way fewer tangles. She even has her complete outfit and complete jewelry. Mainly, she just needs a good cleanup. Since we have the same type of dolls, this time I will use two methods to restore their hair. One will be treated with conditioner, as I always do, and for the other I'll use fabric softener. I'm not sure if it's clear how much worse the Malaysia variant's hair is, but this will not be easy. In any case, the China variant will get the conditioner and the Malaysia one will get fabric softener, as many of you have commented that it's great at detangling hair. So let's test it out. As the first step, I will prepare the fabric softener soak for this girl and leave her hair soaking for a few hours. I haven't cleaned her yet and will first try detangling the hair. I'm super curious to see if this works. For this step, I used a glass jar and this concentrated fabric softener for sensitive skin, as my skin is very sensitive to regular softener. I filled the jar with the hottest water I can get from our tap, which I think is around 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. Then I added about a tablespoon of fabric softener and mixed it together really well. I then wet the doll's hair to keep it from soaking up too much of the water, and then just carefully placed her hair in the mixture. She then stayed like this for about 3 hours. Meanwhile, I worked on the other girl. With her, I followed my usual process where I first dry brush the hair with a white pet brush to remove the tangles before the hair gets wet. This didn't take long as her hair was quite okay to begin with. What I did notice though, as I held her by her head, is that the glue that keeps the Velcro strap on her head started to seep out and made my fingers all sticky. Luckily, the strap is also sewn to her head and it won't come off, so I might just try and remove the glue completely later without replacing it. These glues do seem to deteriorate over time, so it's nothing unexpected with dolls this old. In any case, her hair is now tangle-free and ready to receive further care. Before I start working on the hair itself, I like to let the doll soak for at least an hour in a mixture of hot water and dish soap. It's really effective at lifting dirt and grime from the doll and the hair too. This time, I also soaked her clothes since she came dressed in them. They are not very dirty, but I like to clean everything that arrives to me secondhand. If doll clothes are not very dirty, I just use a mild hand soap and lukewarm water to wash them. One thing to be careful about when washing doll clothes is that pink and red always bleeds. If possible, Always wash them separately, and if the clothes have other than pink colors on them, use color catching sheets to prevent or at least minimize discoloration from the red and pink dyes. Also, the longer you let them soak, the more of the dye comes out, so it's better to keep the wash short unless the clothes are very dirty. Anyway, I removed the clothes and rinsed them under cold running water. And would you look at this? Look how pink the water is. Now, back to the doll. After the soak, I use the sponge to clean up the body, making sure I don't leave anything out. I also carefully washed the face. Then it was time to treat the hair with some shampoo that I always work in thoroughly to get all the remaining dirt out. I used the cheapest generic shampoo for this, nothing fancy. I rinsed the shampoo out and prepared the hair for conditioner. For this I use a better quality conditioner because it rinses out better than the cheap stuff. And I just love the smell of this one. So I work the conditioner into the hair, making sure that all the hair strands are covered. Then I started combing the conditioned hair using a fine-tooth comb, starting from the ends and slowly working my way up carefully, combing out any remaining knots. It's important to do it this way so the hair doesn't get pulled out from the hair plugs. I do this until I'm able to comb through the hair without any troubles. Before rinsing her hair, I scrubbed her with some baking soda, which gives the doll an extra clean feel. By the way, it's better to mix the soda with water, but I was being lazy here. I scrubbed the whole body and then the face too, but it's good to be cautious here to not damage the face paint. Afterwards, I rinsed the baking soda and the conditioner off and got her ready for the boil wash. Also, if you decide to do a boil wash, please be careful and don't burn yourself. As always, I use a heat-safe glass jar, which I fill with water I just boiled in an electric kettle. I then leave the water to cool down for about 5 minutes. That should ensure the water is under 90 degrees Celsius, as Kanekalon hair is sensitive to heat higher than that. I start by dunking the hair briefly in the hot water and then combing through the hair as I pull it out of the water. I always start at the ends and work my way up to the roots gradually. When dolls have longer hair, I often need to refill the water, sometimes even multiple times. Sometimes the Kanekalon hair may still react to the hot water and seize up a little bit, but if you continue combing, the hair will straighten out. Then once I'm happy with the results, I wash the doll in cold water and comb through the hair once more. The cold water helps to sort of lock in the straightness of the hair. Afterwards, I gently squeeze out the water from the hair and place the doll in the sink to curl her bangs. My hula hair Barbie restoration video shows this process in much more details, so I'll just briefly explain it here. I use a straw of the desired size which I place under the bangs and comb them a little bit. I then carefully and slowly pour hot water straight onto the bangs. While they're still hot, I use a comb to shape them as I want. Then I repeat these steps until I'm happy with how the bangs look. This method is a bit more laborious, but I like that I can control the final shape more. Once that's done, I wrap the doll up in a towel. As the final step, I will use a hairdryer to dry the bangs and make sure they keep their shape. I recommend using lower heat if you can adjust that on your hair dryer, or then just blowing the air from further away. If you can keep your hand on the doll's head, then you know it's not too hot. And that's about it. Now the time has come to take care of the other lady. So she's been now in the fabric softener soak for about 3 hours. I'll move her a bit so you can see better. I also put on a pair of gloves because my skin sometimes breaks out when it gets into contact with fabric softener, so I just want to be on the safe side. And then I started with combing the hair. To be honest, the hair didn't feel any softer or more relaxed than before. So I tried soaking it a bit more and then combing, and then just repeating it, but still, the hair was very difficult to comb, and I had to be extra careful to not snap the hair strands. After about 15 minutes, I progressed only a bit and started thinking that it would probably take me multiple hours to comb through the entire length. The hair also really didn't look like it was ready to be tamed. I then thought that maybe I should use a brush rather than a comb, so I switched to the pet brush. Still, it felt like I'm hurting the hair more than I'm helping it. My next thought was that I didn't use enough fabric softener, so I refilled the warm water, mixed in almost a full cap of the softener, and tried the whole thing again. But yet again, I was struggling to detangle even the ends properly. I couldn't imagine trying to tackle the rest of the hair that was extremely tangled, and I had troubles even getting the comb to get inside the mass of hair. Then I thought maybe it's still not enough softener, so I just poured it directly onto the hair and tried combing once again. I don't know why, but it didn't seem to do anything, although I thought it would act just as conditioner does. If anything, she was now starting to lose whole hair plugs. I really didn't know what to do, but I didn't want to give up. So I decided to let the hair dry and then pre-brush it before I place it back into the fabric softener soak. On the next day, I set out to try and brush the hair out. To be honest, the ends did look a bit better after the wet combing the other day. So I grabbed my pet brush and started brushing from the ends, which was the easy part. Once I got to the more tangled parts, things took a turn to worse. It was incredibly difficult to detangle this hair, and now I can't tell for sure if it would have worked better if I just pre-brushed it dry at the very beginning. Maybe letting the fabric softener dry in the hair wasn't a good idea either, but I really can't tell at this point. It's also possible that this bad hair was never salvageable in the first place. Either way, it took me a good 40 minutes to work my way through this hair, having to be extremely careful, and I still ended up pulling out way too much hair. Eventually, I got her hair to a place where there were no more tangles, but it felt like the hair was half of the thickness it was before. Now it was time to wash her as well, and I did pretty much all the same steps as I always do with the dolls, minus the conditioner. So that means using hot water, dish soap, shampoo, and baking soda to clean her up. Then I rinsed her lightly and prepared the fabric softener soak again for attempt number 2. Again, I made sure to dissolve almost a full cap of the softener in hot water. And then I continued soaking and combing the hair. Guys, I don't know what I did wrong, but the hair just wouldn't soften, and I just couldn't get the comb to glide through the hair. It was somewhat easier, but I still felt like I'm just doing more damage than I need to. I tried a couple of different approaches here until I eventually gave up. I honestly expected that this would work much better, but at this point, I was really tired. So I just rinsed the hair and finished the combing with conditioner. And to tell the truth, it made all the difference for me. Now, do I think that fabric softener doesn't work? No, I absolutely can't say that because I know that people have achieved good results with it. Maybe fabric softeners are not all created equally and some work better than others. Maybe they differ from country to country. Either way, I decided that I'll personally stick to conditioner as I know exactly how it works and it has never failed me. However, if you feel like you prefer fabric softener, please don't let this discourage you. Use the techniques that work for you. And maybe you can help me troubleshoot what went wrong here. Meanwhile, the doll sadly did lose a bit more hair in this process because she was just so tortured before, but I managed to comb the hair thoroughly and then I gave her a proper boil wash, trying to be even more gentle than I usually am, as I was a bit scared that she might end up bald. After that, I rinsed her with cold water and I curled her bangs following the same exact methods I always do. You can maybe notice how easily her scalp shows. As the last step, I gave her the original cut end style earrings I had on me, taking advantage of her head still being a bit softer from the hot water. And we have finally arrived at the finishing line. The girls are cleaned up and rocking the cut and style look. At first glance, they both look amazing, and it's not immediately obvious that one of them went through an extensive and quite drastic process. Let's look at a reminder of how they looked at the beginning of this video. The Malaysia version had a literal lion's mane, and now her hair is shiny and smooth. She also got a replacement ring, and both girls got shoes to match their outfits. Let's have one more look at the condition of their hair before and after. I actually never realized how long their hair is. They could almost rival Totally Hair Barbies. The China version came out excellent, but that was to be expected since overall she was in good condition to begin with. The Malaysia version, while it looks really good now, has lost a lot of hair. If you look close enough, you can definitely see multiple gaps. It was also very difficult for me to style her hair so that her scalp won't show. So what to do now? Well, remember I mentioned you could attach more hair to them? I just happened to have one of such hair refills, and while I could harvest this hair and reroot her, I also want to demonstrate her hair play features. These dolls always came with one extra refill, or you could purchase them in refill packs. This hair refill can be attached with a Velcro hook strap that's sewn onto it. Normally, there would be a flap to cover it so it doesn't stick to things, but someone cut it off. We can then attach this hair piece to the loop Velcro strap on Barbie's head. I'm not sure how practical this actually was, but I have to admit it's sure a very creative solution from Mattel. The only issue I have now is that half of her hair is straight and the other half is wavy. Since it took me so much work to get to this point, for now I'll just give her a little twist braid and you a little tutorial on how to do it. Take the hair you want to braid, make sure it's combed through nicely, and divide it into 2 equal parts. Then twist both halves clockwise or anti-clockwise. Just make sure you twist both to the same direction. Then you twist the 2 halves together to the opposite direction you twisted them individually. So if you twisted them both clockwise, then you twist them together anti-clockwise, and vice versa. Then secure the ends with a rubber band and fix the braid if it's a bit uneven. I added extra neon pink and neon yellow rubber bands to match her outfit. And she's now ready. Once I acquire some platinum Kanekalon hair, I will fix her missing plugs, but I think that for the purposes of this video, this solution works. Or does it? Let me know what you think about this video, and let me know if fabric softener works for you. Also, if you enjoy the cut and style line, well then stay tuned because I will be doing a full reroute of the brunette doll in the near future. But for now, thank you so much for watching and I wish you a wonderful day.